since it cannot apply to the 7-year kingdom, and since Christ said, now let's remember, Christ said, when it comes to this thing of the abomination, this always struck me. He said in Matthew 24:15, and Mark 13:14, when you look at the abomination, exercise your mind. And I always thought, am I doing it enough? Am I doing it enough? I never heard anybody in worldwide ever say once, let him understand means exercise your mind. Work with math. Get out a calculator. Start sliding numbers around. Now, I couldn't get him to settle down. Abib 1 put us in a position where it was finally time. And God does say this book will be completely unsealed right when you've reached the end. So we're going to sit here for the balance of this short message, and we're going to exercise our mind as hard as we can. There are 45 days from the time somebody gets blessed. Blessed is typically salvation. God and Christ come and change them till the abomination is set up. Now it has to be exactly 45 days. Let me show you something. Blessed is he that waits and touches. Just gets right to the edge of 45 days. So let me just tell you what that is, because we're going to have to modify it. That would be the start of Thursday night in Jerusalem this week if you just added 10 to it. Now, exactly 45 days, this is the interesting thing, and I never saw it this way. The sacrifices stop bang at the end of 45 days. Not 45.1 or 44.8. They start and end exactly when eventime 10 days later is, 10 or more days later at Abib 1. So if we're going to create a backdrop, this is not complicated. You've got exactly 55 days made up of exactly 45. And then we learned from Revelation 2:10, there are exactly 10 days of tribulation. You know you have 55 days. Got it? 55. You know that. And we're down to about 59 days to go. We're about to hit Sabbat in Jerusalem in the morning. They're exactly, so we're looking at 3 exact sundowns. Now, let's go over to Matthew and let's read something. Because when the abomination is set up, it's a trigger. Luke gives us a different trigger. 2, or we might say 3 things happen. 3 things happen. In Matthew 24 and verse 15, now it talks about the end coming. In verse 14, you have to endure to the end. Verse 15, when you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso reads, let him exercise his mind. Ready? Then, when, verse 15, that happens, then flee right now. Okay, so that's a trigger. Obviously, when the abomination is set up, Daniel tells us the sacrifices stop. That's an equation. So when you see the abomination set up and the sacrifices stop, go. Mark says the same. If you skip on down, verse 20, pray you that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. Now there is a Sabbath 12 days before Abib 1. 12 days before March 22nd. There is a Sabbath of March 10th. So that's in play. And it's still raining. God has not shut off the clouds. He has not begun the drought that's part of the 10 days. That's important to understand. So the 10 days have not yet started. There's time to flee and get away from any of the 10 days. So if I'm reading this correctly, I don't see any way you can even get to Thursday morning our time. It's stone cold math.